Let's say that you have an image that looks like this. So here we go. And what you want to do is you want to take this image and you want to put it in here. Now I'm going to bring this to the top of the layer stacking order, and I'm going to decrease the size of it. So I hit Control T, I can't see the whole thing. So if I hit Control 0, I'll be able to show you the whole thing. Move it right there. There we go. Put that right there, and as wonderful as this looks, I have to say, quite frankly, I don't believe that it's inside of this image. How would I get rid of the sky right here? Now, I could try doing it with the lasso tool, but frankly, I imagine that would take forever, trying to cut it out. And also, there's a very solid color. I switched between the tabs right there. You can see me doing that. Also, there's a very solid color in the background, and whenever you see a single solid color, it should send an alert that this is probably a good place for the magic wand tool. So for instance, if you had a green screen image, that would be a good place for the magic wand tool. We have this image, and I am going to select it right here. And what I want to do is I want to select everything that's the blue sky. So here we go. Here, let's, I'm actually trying to make it so it doesn't work fantastically the first time out of the gate. Otherwise, this becomes too easy. All right, so I want to select everything that's this blue sky. So I went to the magic wand and I clicked on the color, and it selected some of it, but not all of it. And why didn't it select everything that's blue? Now, there's a reason for that. If you'll notice, and let's actually zoom in quite a bit in order to notice this, all of these individual pixels aren't exactly the same shade. So you can see how there's actually very different shades of blue happening. And what's going on there and what's going on down here is a much darker version of blue. Or up here, it's another darker version of blue. And when we click on an individual point, say this point right here, what Photoshop is saying is, okay, I see the color of this individual pixel. I'm going to go 15 shades in one direction, 15 shades in the other direction, and that'll be approximately the right color right there. And that 15 shades in one direction, 15 shades in the other direction is something called tolerance. Now, by default, and don't write this down, by default, tolerance is set to 32. So if you have it at 32, that will probably get the job done in most cases. And you can see that it does a pretty good job in this case. However, if it doesn't seem to be working, you can also make it so it's, higher, increase it by a little bit. So I'm just setting it to 60 here, or you can make it lower. Now this is out of, I'm not even going to tell you what it's out of, 255, because it doesn't matter. Just be aware that if you're using an image and instead of getting the selection you want, you're getting something like this, you can always decrease it. I'll generally do it, I'll double it, and then I'll use increments of 30, or I'll use increments of 15, and I'll just half how much I'm changing it, and play around with it until you get what you want. Now, I'm going to zoom in a bit just to make sure that this is exactly what I want. And when I zoom in a bit, I can actually see that this is selecting too much. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to actually turn this tolerance to 32. I hit Control 0 to see the whole image. Select all of this, and let's zoom in again. And that looks like a much better edge right there. However, it's not getting all of these little spaces down here. So, in order to do that, I am going to uncheck contiguous. Remember, we turned it on for the ducky because we didn't want to select the eye. Well, now we do want to select all these little bits. So I'm going to click here. And now you can see that it does a good job of selecting everything in the image that's that color. So if I hit delete, it deletes everything that we don't want. But there's a problem. And the problem is the active region was a little bit too much. So I'm going to step back in the history right there. I'm going to deselect it right there. I'm going to select it again. Here we go. Select it again. And you'll notice here, actually, if I try different parts of it, you'll notice that it does it differently because it's a range based off of the pixel that I'm directly over. This looks like a pretty good one. And it's almost perfect, except for these pieces over here. I don't want to delete them. I only want to get rid of the sky.